I have been sitting with a thought lately, a very quiet thought, but also a very loud one somehow. And this is a thought. When all is said and done, what truly matters? I think what inspired this was I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few days back about some major changes I wanted to make in my life. And then after I had that conversation with him, he then asked me, but Ngozi, what truly matters to you? And then after this phase, what next? And then I just thought to myself, when all is said and done, when we step away from the crowd, when we step away from the ovation, when we step away from the spotlight, at the end of it all, what truly matters? And it is not when it's noisy, not when everyone is clapping for you, not when deadlines are chasing you, not when you're trying to prove something to the world, but at the very end of it all, what matters, what remains, what actually stays important. I think that sometimes we move through life so quickly that we don't pause long enough to ask ourselves these questions. We're constantly trying to become more, earn more, achieve more, fix more, survive more, hustle more. But every once in a while, life forces you to slow down and really think. An instance would be the COVID-19 era back then in 2020, in which the world was forced to reset. And people began to think to themselves like, okay, beyond this hustle and bustle, what really matters to me? To some, it became an avenue to find their purpose. To some, it became an avenue to actually stick to what really matters to them, which was family. To some, it was their passion, just a whole lot of things. And so lately, I've been wondering whether we spend too much time investing in things that eventually fade while neglecting the things that truly give life meaning. Sometimes life forces these questions on us through maybe grief, transitions, disappointment, betrayals, burnout, growing older, watching people leave, watching people die, or simply realizing how fast time moves. And so one question that keeps sitting with me, or that has been sitting heavily on my heart lately, is when all is said and done, what truly matters? Again, not when life is exciting, not when things are trending, not when everybody is watching you, but at the end of it all, what remains important? What survives the pressure? What survives the competition? The busyness, the endless chasing? Because if we're honest, a lot of the things we stress over today may not even matter years from now. And that realization is both scary and freeing. I told a colleague something recently, and I told her that at the end of life, we will not remember the emails we sent, but the moment we felt alive. And I know some people may hear this topic and immediately think it's about death. But honestly, this episode is more about life and about learning to live properly before life passes us by. My name is Ngozi Obiefuna and welcome to today's episode of Random Talk with NG. Today, I want us to reflect on the topic, what truly matters? When all is said and done, what truly matters? I think one of the biggest illusions life sells to us is the idea that fulfillment is always somewhere ahead of us. Like, once I make more money, everywhere goes soft. Once I get married, once I relocate, once I become successful, once people finally recognize me, then I'll finally feel complete. But life is interesting because sometimes people get the thing they prayed for and they still feel empty. Not because the achievement is bad, don't get me wrong, not because ambition is bad, but because human beings were never designed to survive only on achievement. And honestly, I think many of us are exhausted because we're constantly chasing things without asking ourselves, will this actually matter to me in the long run? I also had a conversation with a friend of mine who is a very ambitious person, by the way. And for every single time he achieves something, he has already set another goal. But then recently, I noticed that my friend had slowed down. He had slowed down and decided to start living a bit. And it also translates to me. Because I recently had a conversation with another friend of mine who said, "Oh, Ngozi, you seem to be a bit freer these days. You do not seem to be the workaholic that we've always known you as." And I was like, "Oh, me? When have I ever been a workaholic?" And by the time he finished giving me lots of instances, that was when I realized that there wasn't anything like work-life harmony in my life, but it was more like work. And there was nothing like life harmony. And then I had to pause and reflect and ask myself, at the end of it all, when all is said and done, when you close that laptop after how many years, what truly matters? I think sometimes we confuse being busy with being fulfilled, and they are not the same thing. The same way people seem to assume that, oh, she gets a lot of fulfillment from the work she does. I'm happy to do my work. I am not ready to be sloppy at my work, but I derive more fulfillment doing the things I love. Example, recording this podcast, speaking with my friends, speaking with family, trying out new recipes. Some people climb mountains only to discover they leaned their ladder against the wrong wall. Imagine spending your whole life chasing things that impress people, but don't actually nourish your soul. That thought honestly scares me sometimes. If there is one thing life keeps teaching me over and over again, it's this: relationships matter deeply. In terms of relationships, I'm not just talking about the romantic relationships. I'm talking about family, friendships, community, people who genuinely care about you, because eventually life humbles everybody. Be you priest or pastor, be you nun or career person, be you model or mentor, be you young or old, life humbles everybody. One day you're strong and independent and handling everything. Another day you need support. You need prayer. You need comfort. You need someone to simply sit with you in silence. And in these moments, titles don't hug you. Money doesn't emotionally hold your hand. Achievements don't sit beside you at 2 a.m. People do. I remember instances where I felt a bit down and low in my spirits, and I'm able to reach out to my friends. I'm able to reach out to my support system, and they always come through for me, notwithstanding the time. I can pick up my phone and call my siblings, and I know there's always someone at every point in time to listen, and we do the same. It's vice versa. I remember an instance where my head was full, I was tired, I was burnt out, I was exhausted, and if I did not take a step back, I would have said things that I did not mean to people who I was not supposed to. And I called a friend of mine and I said, I'm tired. And my friend asked me, can we pray? And we prayed. He prayed for me. And I felt at peace. I'm not sure titles would have done that for me. I remember times when I still used to live close to my parents, when I feel very overwhelmed and exhausted and burnt out with things happening in and around my life. I just tell a friend of mine that I'm going home. There is love at home. And when I go home, I hug my sister, or I hug my mother, or even when I hug my nephew, and I feel at peace, and I let out any tears I want to let out, or I'm able to just calm down, just play Monopoly, and everything comes back to normal. Honestly, I think one of the greatest blessings in life is having people who know the real you, not your polished version, not your social media version, not your productive version, the real you. I remember one terrible season I was really going through in 2022, and my parents reached out and said, do you want to move back home? I had friends who also asked, should we move in with you? Are you sure you'll be fine? They were always checking up on me. They helped me get through that difficult season, and I'm always eternally grateful for the people that I have in my corner at every point in time. Are we nurturing our relationships intentionally? It's easy to say that you have people stand up for you, but do you also stand up and show up for people? Or are we too busy to love people properly? Have we become emotionally unavailable while chasing success? Because sometimes we're physically present but emotionally absent. And I think many people are silently lonely today. You're connected to everyone digitally, but you're deeply disconnected emotionally. At the end of the day, people may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. I think this is why kindness matters so much. People carry feelings longer than we realize. Have you ever attended a send forth at work where people are talking about the person leaving and saying, "Oh, I remember one time when we worked on this late night project, you showed up for me, you said this, you said that." And have you ever had conversations with colleagues in the office where once one person's name is mentioned, people are like, "Hey, let's not even go there. That person was of no use in terms of kindness towards the person, was all shades of mean." Have you ever had those instances? And now, can we talk about how normalized exhaustion has become? Everybody is tired, and not just physically tired. I'm saying emotionally tired, mentally tired, spiritually tired as well. That's a thing. It's almost like the world rewards burnout. If you're constantly busy, people think you're successful. Hello? I may be going through a lot. The fact that I'm always saying I'm busy does not mean I may just be going through a lot and there's nothing I can do about it. But I've started asking myself, what is the point of building a successful life if I'm too exhausted to experience it? My friend Ayo will say, "Spend this money, madam. Spend this money." Hello, bro. I am just too busy. And he will say, "You are always busy." It's not like I'm busy doing nothing, no, in my defense. But we're just going through a lot, yeah. And this is something I'm still learning, personally, because ambition can become addictive. The desire to do more, become more, achieve more, the fear of being less, the fear of not being, successful, of not living life successful, even though we all seem to forget most times that we're going to live life with nothing at all. And while growth is beautiful, there is a dangerous point where your entire identity becomes tied to productivity, where resting feels illegal. Because I remember, for those who understand my line of work, busy season, when you try to close your eyes for 6 hours because they said we should sleep for like 8 hours, right? And then when I try to get 6 hours of sleep, I'll be feeling so guilty. No matter how my friends preach rest to me, I'll be like, if I sleep, it will be like I don't want to do my work. Hey, resting then begins to feel illegal to me. I think many of us keep postponing joy. We tell ourselves, "I'll rest later. I'll travel later. I'll enjoy life later. I'll spend time with people later." But life is happening now. Life is not waiting for you. Time is ticking. And I think one of the saddest things is realizing too late that you survived life instead of living it. Do not get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. That quote honestly convicts me every single time. Do not get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Guilty as charged. And now, there are instances where character becomes your legacy. And you know what's interesting? Eventually, achievements fade into the background, but character stays. People remember kindness, humility, integrity, gentleness, honesty. And I think the world sometimes underestimates soft qualities. Being kind is not weakness. Being compassionate is not weakness. And being emotionally aware is definitely not weakness. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who choose goodness repeatedly in difficult environments. I like to tag some particular people, but let's just leave it for another day. People seem to forget the place of empathy when it comes to difficult situations and difficult environments. That is why you hear people say a work environment is toxic. Not because the building itself is toxic. The people there are highly non-empathetic human beings. But you need to strike a balance though. I want to live in a way where people feel lighter after encountering me. Not drained, not diminished, not unseen. Because eventually your life becomes a memory in people's minds. And what kind of memory are we creating? I know it's easy for you to say, "I don't care, that's their business. Any memory they have of me, so be it." But then ask yourself, as a leader at work, as a leader in church, as a leader at home, as a leader anywhere you find yourself, what kind of memory are you creating? Long after accomplishments fade, character leaves fingerprints. Oh, you say to yourself, "I will do this when I clock 40. I will travel the world. I will see 35 countries when I got 35. See you see 35 tomorrow. You've been hustling. You've decided not to go on leave even once. I think one of the greatest tragedies in life is postponing ourselves, waiting for permission to fully leave, waiting until everything is perfect, until we feel ready, until we have more money, until we feel more confident, until life becomes easier. Meanwhile, time keeps moving, oh. People grow older, parents age, friendships shift, seasons change. And one day, you suddenly realize time has really passed. Well, just a realization. We keep saying that we have time, but do we really have enough time? Beyond death, children relocate. Their parents are in another continent. Due to harsh realities or economic realities, they are not able to see them for months, for years, as often as they would love to see them. They're not able to see their siblings as often as they would like to see them. I don't think life is asking us to be perfect, but I do think life is asking us to be present, to notice moments, to appreciate ordinary days, to stop rushing through everything. Because sometimes the moments we think are insignificant become the moments we miss the most later. Before recording this podcast, I had a very, very one-off thought. It just crossed my mind. What if you had just 3 months to live? What would you do? Now ask yourself that question. What if I had 1 month to live? What if I had 3 months to live? What are the things I would love to achieve before leaving this world? And then you would realize that it's not a case of I want to get all the promotions in the office. 3 months, no. Or 1 month. Let's use 1 month, for example. It's a case of, oh, I need to reconcile with this person whom I have offended. Oh, I need to make sure that I spend more time with those that I love and those that love me. I need to make sure that I express my love and gratitude to those who have always been there for me through it all. Then that is when you would realize that the small ordinary moments were actually the big moments. Spiritually, this conversation matters deeply too. Because if life becomes only about accumulation, then we actually risk losing ourselves, right? And I think there's a difference between building a successful life and building a meaningful one. A meaningful life is not necessarily loud. Sometimes it's quiet, intentional, grounded, present. And honestly, I think purpose is bigger than performance. I think God cares deeply about who we become, how we love, how we treat people, the condition of our hearts. For there's a scripture that says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And that verse feels heavier the older I get, because some people gain everything externally while losing themselves internally. And I think true success should include peace, joy, purpose, love, alignment, and becoming a healthier human being. So maybe, when all is said and done, what truly matters is not how loudly we lived, but how deeply we loved. Maybe it's the people we cared for, the peace we protected, the moment we fully experienced, the kindness we gave, the courage to become better, and the lives we touched along the way. Because eventually the noise fades, and what remains are the things that were always important. I leave you with 3 quotes. In the end, life is measured less by what we collected and more by what we connected to. The meaning of life is not found in how much we achieve, but in how much we leave behind. One day, all that will remain of us are memories in the hearts of people. Thank you so much for spending time with me. If this episode resonated with you, share with someone you love or someone who may need this reminder today. Take care of yourself. Rest. Call your people. Be present. Live intentionally. And I'll talk to you again soon on Random Talk with Angie. Have a great week ahead.